I'm still riding that high. Feels nice, but I can't wait to go home and spend time with my wife.
So can you talk to me a little bit about heading into this fight? Is that kind of how you pictured the fight going? Did you feel like you might have to fight all 3 rounds with him?
You always got to prepare for 3 rounds, mentally, physically, spiritually. You got to put yourself in just a place, to go, just to be willing to drown. To be willing to drown someone, you got to be willing to drown, and that's the mentality I get in. I've had visions, I've had dreams of knocking them out, but you can't go in there and just expect to knock the guy out, and it doesn't happen. And but it did tonight, and it felt nice, and I definitely dreamed that one.
I know you weren't in there very long, but was there anything about him that surprised you in there?
No, I was just in the moment, flowing, reacting, seeing things, looking for openings, and my time came, got the big punch, knocked him out, put a stamp on it.
Do you feel like you're one to believe in superstitions?
Nah, I don't. I'm not a superstitious guy. I'm just a faithful believer in God, and I'm a faithful believer in hard work and perseverance, and just going after it.
What's next for you?
What's next is go home. Wife's gonna have this baby. Take some time to just be there for her. I literally missed the whole newborn phase of my firstborn, Bam. So I don't want to miss this one. So I'll be there for her. Be there for the baby for a little bit, and then we'll get back to work. Maybe August, September. Like I said earlier in media day, I'd love to fight at the Spear.
Do you have an opponent you'd like to fight there?
There's multiple options. There's if Lopez gets through Sadiq, that could be a good one. Or I could take out maybe the loser of Ortega and Yair, one of those guys, depending on how their fight goes in Mexico City. But I know they're going to want to stack it for Mexican Independence Day with a bunch of Mexicans. But I got a left hook like a Mexican too, so it doesn't really matter.
Last one for me. Do you have any picks for the Super Bowl? Do you watch football at all?
I don't really watch football. Sorry, I don't have a pick.
So do you even know who's in?
I know who's playing, but I don't want to just randomly throw a team out there because I don't really care for either of them. Sorry.
Thanks.
Hey, Dan. Does a fight with Giga excite you at all?
It may oppose itself. It's kind of like this fight, with Feely. Like, just each other. It's hard, man. Can't have any friends in this sport. You can't. No more friends, man. It's just, I'm trying to win, man. I'm trying to climb the ladder, and we'll see what happens.
I mean, it's kind of every time you go up against like a prospect or someone a little bit lower than your rankings, you go out there and put their lights out. Like, is that just kind of a warning to like all these prospects like stay out of your way?
It doesn't really matter. Prospect, ranked, champion. I have the ability to do that to anyone. Andre Feely's one of the best in the world. Andre Feely's been in the UFC for 10 years and can be a champion on any given day. Just tonight wasn't his night. I put his lights out, but I have the ability to put out the lights of anyone in this division. I'm pretty sure I just broke Joe Pfeiffer's record on that punch machine right before I fought. Ask Eric. He took a picture. I don't even know what his score is, but I hit it 40%. And I broke the record.
Speaking of that, there was a little bit in your career where you were going these decisions, but man, these past couple of years, like you said, you're putting these dudes' lights out. What's changed?
Just finding my range, finding my rhythm. Like when I first got in the UFC, I just fought. It was more so out of like fear. I didn't know how to set things up. I was just hit the guy before he hits me or knocks me out. So I always had to bring the fight to people. And then I got a little more technical. Then I started fighting a little slower. Then I would lose some decisions. But I know I have the ability to hurt anyone. It's just, picking my shots, setting it up, and, being relentless out there. I know I'm one of the best. And it's all about just putting it together mentally, physically. I prepare like no one else. I go into a fight. I literally leave no stone unturned. I check every single box. And sometimes that doesn't get you a win. That's the shitty thing about this, because you could do everything right and lose, you could do everything wrong and win, but I always do everything right, and tonight just went my way.
I'd be willing to bet you that you're getting $50,000 for your performance. So I'm guessing, is that going towards the new baby or what's up?
Dude, I'm just trying to create generational wealth. I'm trying to set up my success for me, set up my success for my kids and my kids' kids. And I don't know how these fights went, but I should get all the bonuses tonight.
I agree. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Dan over here. I saw there was a moment there after you won where you, Coach Eric, and Andre were exchanging words. What were those words like?
I told him I loved him, and he told me he loved me too. And I said I was sorry, and it's just business, on a personal note, I love Andre. I love Andre Feely. He's a good dude. He's fun to be around. We've trained together. That's why I took this personal, because he was the first. I didn't get like a list of names. It was, hey, Feely wants to fight. That was Sean Shelby's text. Feely wants to fight. I was like, all right, like that was the last guy on my radar. Now this guy wants to fight, so I had to flip that switch and be like, F this dude. This is business, and I'm gonna go out there and let him know this isn't this. This is real. This is a fight. So I knew I couldn't go in there and be his friend tonight, but I truly do love that dude, and I admire him, and that's just the sport we're in.
It's awesome. And I've kind of noticed when you look at your career and your career trajectory, there's been times like maybe you've been booked against a high-ranked guy and it might not necessarily go your way, but then you turn right around and you face like a prospect like they just mentioned and you put their lights out. So I guess how do you approach that situation mentally when you look at your career trajectory and how it's going?
It's probably comes down to maybe putting pressure on myself of, hey, climbing the ladder, big opportunity, main event, and then I just put a little too much pressure on myself where I'm not completely focused in the moment, or I'll overtrain myself, and I just, sometimes you wake up, it's fight day, and you're feeling flat, and, there's no excuses. You just got to go through it. You could do everything right, like I said, and show up fight day, and it's just not your day. And you're judged. You're literally, your whole entire career is judged by minutes in this octagon. No one sees. You guys know, but no one sees the day-to-day work that we put in, the sacrifices that we put in. Spending time away from family, going to the gym, just taking damage, sparring, you get beat up, go home, still have to, be there, be present, be a dad, be a good husband, go back, do it every single day. It gets repetitive, but you're just programmed to just, I don't know, I really don't know where I'm going with this, but, I live as if I'm a champion, and I treat myself, and I do everything I do is I'm the champion, and that's just the mentality shift, and I feel like I'm really maturing, 32 now, and I don't even know if I could say I've reached my prime, but I'm still getting better.
For sure. And after a knockout like that tonight, I'm sure the UFC might be keen on booking you again against someone higher ranked than you. So if that comes true, how differently would you approach the situation now?
It's me versus me, man. I know that sounds cliche. People say that, but I can't put anyone on a pedestal anymore. Sometimes you put these guys on a pedestal and you get in there with them and be like, dude, he's not that good, or he doesn't hit that hard. That the UFC's job is to promote these fighters and make them look like these unstoppable beasts. Like, they're going to put highlights reels of me just putting dudes out with one punch. And just can't go in there with that mentality. You just got to go in there, focus on your own ability, my God-given gifts, and use it to my full potential.
Would you say one of your God-given gifts is your ability to kind of shell up and boom? It's like an art to see you do that.
Yeah, I've always known I've hit hard, from day one when I walked into Extreme Couture. I don't think Ray Cefa was lying to me, but he told me I hit like a middleweight. And you just kind of believe it, and then you hear it from other people that have no relation to Ray Cefa, then I'll hit pads with like Mark Henry or Henry Hoof or whatever, just someone completely different, and be like, wow, man, like you can crack. And it's just, what is this common theme? Then you kind of buy into it, and just, I really do hit hard, but it's just finding the button.
Awesome. Congratulations.
Thanks.
Dan, do you feel like there were fights that you lost because you were talking about putting somebody on the pedestal that you did not perform your best because you thought you expected more from them?
Yeah, I mean, you can never be so sure, but a few of those fights, like I know Korean Zombie, I just kind of had a one-sided mindset, which is knock him out, and then he came out with a completely different game plan, and I didn't have the ability to adapt in the moment. Movsar was another guy that it just was tough and tricky, and I had 17 weeks to prepare for that dude. So that should be more than enough time, right? But it's just, you get to fight day and you're just like, you're spent. And then you're just a shell of yourself, but you go through the motions because you've trained for 17 weeks. And, a lot of these guys that I've lost to, I know I can beat them, but it's just sometimes you're only given one shot, one opportunity, and you fall short. And, but that's the beauty of MMA. No one's perfect. You don't have to, it's not boxing. We don't have to have a perfect record. I put together a couple highlight reel KOs. I'm right back up there in the mix as a contender. So that's what I have over everyone, and I'll be back.
You described a few minutes ago the physical toll that all the training takes on your body. What is more difficult to deal with, the physical toll that it takes, and when you come into fight night, you're not at your physical best because you've been through these 2 months of hell, or is it just the mental, knowing the grind and all that, and does that wear on you after a while?
I can't put a percentage on the mental game, but I really think it's more mental than physical. We can all experience pain, but these mental hardships and just not burning out, when you do the same thing every day, it's easy to burn out. So, honestly, spending less time thinking about the fight, finding different ways of self-care, ways to unplug, I feel like that's been key for me. Having something outside the gym, I have a wonderful church. I have great friends there that have nothing to do with fighting. They all know I fight now because they're my friends, but when I walked in there, it's like no one knew I was a fighter, and it was just my place where I could just like kind of let go of the fighter, just be Dan Ige and just be loved for being Dan Ige, not, 50K.
And having a family, and especially a young family like you do, how much longer do you want to do it? Because I know you want to be there at Little League and in soccer and whatever the kids do, right? So how long can you motivate yourself to do this when you have the young kids coming up, and you're getting you're over 30 now, so you got your the mid 30s coming up?
Yeah, it's hard to put a number on it, but for sure I have 5 years, and I could reassess. I could reassess in 2 years, but I take care of my body. I do everything. I cold plunge, I sauna, I hyperbaric, I do red light, I get in the sun. I eat healthy. I've never had a surgery. I've never been knocked out. I've never had a broken bone. Well, besides like skating, I used to get jacked up all the time when I was a little kid skating, but there's my knockout right there. That was sick. Watch this. I didn't want to do this, but bing. Sorry.
Masvidal, when he did that to Ben Askren, said it was super necessary, I guess. Did you feel that was super necessary to throw that last one?
It was in the moment. Honestly, I gave Herzog a split second, but he didn't jump in, so I had to just nail the coffin.
Thank you. Congrats.
Thanks.
You got the 50K.
Sick. That's it.
Dan, let's talk about, we know that the Hawaiians are massive combat sports fans. How has the Hawaiian community supported you and helped you throughout your career?
You know what? It was nice to finally carry that Hawaiian flag again tonight. I haven't carried it for a few years just because they banned flags, but they brought them back. So I carried that flag with pride. I've been in I've been in Vegas, 9th Island, for 8 years now. It's this is my home now, but I love Hawaii, and I'll always carry Hawaii on my back.
Last night at Power Slap, Dana White spoke about his desire to bring Power Slap to Hawaii. He said the UFC has never been there. How big would that be if they were to bring Power Slap in the UFC to the island? And would that be something that you'd want to be a part of?
For sure. Brad says it all the time. Like this is probably the closest we've ever gotten to UFC Hawaii being the ninth island. But I would 100% be, I'll fight on the fucking moon, dude. I don't care.
One last one. Are you a power slap fan at all?
Dude, I've only seen like Instagram. I'm sure there's nothing more than just dudes getting slapped, but I've only seen Instagram. I've never actually tuned in. Sorry, Dana. It's fun to watch. Dudes get knocked out. I wouldn't say I'm a huge advocate because it is, it's just brain damage, but whatever.
One last one. Any prediction for next week's fight between Volk and Tapura?
Fight's a fight, man. Anything can happen. I'd say Volk.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
congrats on the win, my man.
Thank you.
I know for a while the thing was like be like Joe Pyfer, but being Jack Hermanson is pretty damn good tonight.
It's pretty good. Tonight we're going to be like Jack Hermanson.
Were you happy with your performance? You got that decision win. All three judges were on board. You did it. You got the hand raised.
There's different things, I'm very happy with the win, which is the most important thing, of course. But there's a lot of mistakes done in this fight that I need to fix on. To be in this sport is a constant learning process, and I learned a lot tonight.
What was that thing that you learned, or the thing that one thing you could have fixed? I know you're gonna really critique it and sit down with the team, but give me one thing.
Leading up to the fight, I said this fight is about a hit without getting hit, but I got hit a couple of times there, especially the first 2 rounds. So one punch from Joe can be one too many. Tonight I fought through that and ended up on top, but it's dangerous to get hit in there. So I will continue to work on my defense and a lot of other stuff. I need to watch the fight again, and we're going to start to pick on different things.
He definitely landed in those first 2 rounds, but while he was able to connect, what was equally impressive is your chin. You held up and really took those punches, but he also didn't close the distance. Why do you think that was?
It's hard to say. I think that if you see somebody swing at you, you manage to brace up, and that helps. It's the punches that you don't see that are dangerous. So I think that I managed to tense up and embrace before the connection with the punches. Maybe that was it. We used a lot of. We worked a lot on the ice, leading up to the fight. So I think some of the work that we did also helped me to protect myself.
Excellent. We saw, if we could pinpoint like a specific time where like it was that ebb and flow, it totally shifted your way in round 3.
Yeah.
You landed a clean shot where he even looked away as if thinking maybe it was an eye poke.
Yeah.
But that was clean. Did you feel that was like, okay, I'm taking over now. I'm going to just, and especially your experience.
Yeah, that was a defining moment. And also when I started to land those calf kicks. So after that, it was just like the variation between the jab and the calf kick that got hard for him to read. And I think that was the shift there in the third. And I knew that, my conditioning is superior to anyone's. So I can keep that pace up for all 5 rounds.
And that, you beat me to the question. Even though you were away for a year, you let us know immediately that you were active, that you were still keeping eyes on things, working with guys. For someone who was away that long, your conditioning held up. It seems like you got stronger as the fight went on.
Yeah. I'm not one of those guys that is only training fight camp. I train year around, and I've done it since I started with this sport, and that's why I have that good conditioning, because I never take days off. I'm not just training when I'm in camp. I'm training every day, all year round.
That's awesome. It doesn't seem like you took much damage. It was an awesome fight, very entertaining 25 minutes. How soon do we get in there, and how quickly do you want to defend your ranking?
It's so much adrenaline after a fight, so we'll have to see how the body feels in the next couple of days, and then it's going to be easier to know. But it definitely is not going to take a year as it did the last time. So I'm hoping to fight at least 2 more times this year, and I can't wait to get back in there.
Excellent. Thank you, sir, and congratulations on the win.
Thank you so much.
I just have one for you. You mentioned legalizing MMA in Norway. Yeah. What's the status there? Like, how far? Does it sound like it could happen? Do you know anything about?
Well, before boxing was illegal as well. Boxing is now legal, so we can do boxing in Norway. And I think, it's time to get MMA legalized as well. Before I'm done with this sport, I'm gonna fight in Oslo. I have to fight in Oslo. It would be amazing to bring the sport to Norway. But I'm gonna need some help from all you guys in the media and the UFC and all the fans back home in Norway. We need to put some pressure on the politicians and show everybody that we really want this. We love this sport, and I think we should decide for ourselves if we want to enjoy to watch and to train and to compete in MMA. So let's legalize MMA in Norway. And in the meantime, I would love to go back to my birth country, Sweden, and fight there.
Thank you.
Jack, leading up to the fight, did you feel like you were being used as a springboard for Joe Pfeiffer? Like he was getting all of the promotion, all of the hype. Like, did you feel that?
Yeah, I felt that, like he didn't even have a ranking. I feel like he got more exposure than I did for this fight, but I understand why. He has an amazing story. He's coming up through the contender series, and he has a lot of eyes on him, and he should get a shot like this, but then you also need to perform to be able to take it to the next level. And I was not going to be that stepping stone.
With that being said, you were the spoiler. You spoiled his hype, and you've done that throughout your career. So, like, how does that feel?
It feels good, to show everybody that I'm up there. I'm one of the best middleweights in the world. That's just facts by now.
And you mentioned you would like to fight Nasruddin Imavov. Is it just kind of makes sense? You guys fought back to back, and it kind of you're fighting up.
That's it. I've just watched the rankings, and I fought a lot of guys up there, and obviously I can't come back with a fight with the unranked opponent and go direct to the top. So I need to fight someone that's closer to me in the rankings. And I think he makes the most sense at the moment.
There's somebody ranked 2 above you. You guys have had a wrestling match before with Hamzat. Would you be willing to fight Hamzat?
Of course, I'm willing to fight Hamzat. I know there's been a talk of him and Cannonier and some of the other top names, so we'll see what is happening. But I will be open for that fight, and I would also love to fight Brandon Allen, but he's booked up with Vettori, and I think at the moment Imavov makes the most sense.
Speaking of fighting in Sweden, like you and Hamzat could headline a Sweden card.
Yeah, definitely. That would be amazing, actually. So we have Hamzat, we have Panik Jansad, and Anton Turkal. We have a lot of other Swedish. What? Yeah, Ivana, of course. Ivana, the other Norwegian fighter, and a lot of other Swedish fighters. So let's make a card in Sweden.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Jack, over here. You mentioned the fight between Marvin Vettori and Brendan Allen. I kind of just want to get your take on that. Who do you think is going to win that fight?
It's going to be a tough one. Really hard to predict, actually. Ooh. That's a 50-50. That's a really hard fight to predict. Vittori is almost impossible to finish, and he has great cardio. And Brendan Allen has also been looking really good lately, so he probably going to be a war, and wouldn't surprise me if it goes the distance.
Nice. And I know you mentioned you want to fight in Sweden and obviously legalize mixed martial arts in Norway, but if it was up to you, and how would you want the rest of your career to look like in terms of your career trajectory in the UFC?
I want to fight in big arenas again. I appreciate to be the main event here at Apex. It's really cool, but when I was dreaming about becoming a UFC fighter, I dreamt about big arenas, and I've done that, and that's the most amazing feeling in the world, and that's what I want to do.
Awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Definitely saw a difference in Joe going in that third round. Did you feel that you just kind of needed to weather an initial storm from him? Did he come out and play out how you thought he would, coming out strong at first?
Yeah, I did hope to do even better at the beginning than I did, but I knew that the fight was going to benefit me as long as it went. So I did expect that. But I did expect to do better in the first 2, so I'm not quite happy with myself there. But that's what we do. We will see what I did and learn from our mistake, and I will be a better version of myself in the next fight.
Was it just his timing was throwing you off a little bit, or what do you think was taking you a little bit in those first couple of rounds?
It's always hard to find the timing and find your rhythm and find your distance. With all the pressure, all the nerves, it takes some moments for it to settle in, and because you need to be ready the moment you step in there. But sometimes it's hard, and I guess I needed a couple of rounds to find my rhythm.
And then definitely in that last round, I think I, as well as some others, had that 2-2 going in there, but then you were able to secure that takedown. Was there something in you that kind of knew that if you could at least get the takedown, that would sort of secure that round for you?
Yeah, I thought that, and also Joe is powerful. He's dangerous until the last second of the fight. So I knew that, okay, let's seal the deal, let's get a takedown. My plan was to get a little bit more of the ground and pound going, but he kept really close, and he was fighting my hands well, so it's hard. I didn't want to give him too much distance to pop up, so it's hard to get the ground and pound going. Slightly frustrating, actually.
Yeah, well, you did a really good job of controlling him in that last round. And last thing for me, I guess just going back to Joe, a lot of people were kind of hyping him up. Do you see him as a possible future contender? He's young, he's kind of still coming into it, but do you see greatness potentially in him for the future?
Yeah, I promise you, he's going to do well. I'm 100% sure of it. You know, now he has this loss, and I'm sure he's just going to grow from it. Joe seems like a great guy. He seems focused, and he's a dangerous fighter, and I don't see why he shouldn't be great.
Congrats on the victory.
Thank you. Okay. Perfect. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.